Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tony's Sleep Hacks and Journal. And I'm really excited to have somebody I really admire, Joe Reichsfeld. Did I say that right?
Close enough, yeah.
You know what? You're totally old school. And I just wanted to say, hey, listen, all of those Facebook comments could be just, that could be a course in itself.
Thanks.
And it's really appreciated, really.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So, Joe, please, I was just doing some background research. I was in the middle of a podcast that you did with Andy Arnott about a year and a half ago, in January.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, but I'd like to see how much is still relevant, And first, really tell everybody, tell us about yourself and your background and tell us your life story.
Okay. Well, let's see. I've been in business since the mid 80s. I actually owned I opened my first business when I was 7. And then I've just been a crazy entrepreneur ever since. I got into e-commerce in 1999 with my own website and did very, very, very well with no marketplaces. I was a beta tester for Overture.com, which was the original PPC. I was a beta tester for FBA when that first started. I've been around the block a few times. I still use, principles and marketing principles and business tactics that I learned 30, 40 years ago, and just applied differently, but it's still the same solid things that have been in use for hundreds, who knows, thousands of years, going back to Greek times, in one way, shape, or form, and they work. I'm not into shiny objects.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather expand or help somebody expand horizontally, than go after the fad of the week kind of a thing. That gets tiring. That gets really tiring. I've done it. I used to be great at it. I really have no desire to do it anymore. For me, the whole thing it's about community building and building brands, and building a sustainable business.
Yeah.
The business I was in before e-commerce was fine dining, hotels, and restaurants. And it's really the same thing. You build this little central core community that knows you and and you build authority with them. And it really, in a lot of ways, isn't any different.
Right.
So I've worked with everybody from single sellers to Fortune 500 clients. In 2010, I stopped working with third-party sellers because they were driving me crazy, and only worked with branded corporations, multinational corporations for 8 years, which was an eye-opener. It was a lot of fun. I still have a lot of those clients, but since 2018, I have come back around and working a lot with third-party sellers, and I like that. I find it really satisfying, but I also learned how to say, we're not a good fit.
Okay. Which is great. I like about you and me, and I think you would agree on this statement, where I find Amazon is the necessary evil. You know what I mean? And that's what we should view it as. How can we maximize it? Because we know the good times aren't going to last forever, and to build that long-term sustainable business.
You cannot be a serious player in e-commerce in the U.S. in this market and ignore Amazon unless you are a giant brand. But really, Amazon it's a sales channel. Bottom line, it's a very effective sales channel, but it's a sales channel just like a lot of the other ones. Amazon only reaches 10% of internet users worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the other 90% buying from? Where are they going? Not Amazon. Facebook reaches 74% of internet users worldwide, and Google reaches 96%, minus China. China's not in any of those numbers. So, to me, putting all of my marketing money, putting all of my focus on Amazon only is an opportunity cost.
Yeah.
For the seller that that markets on Facebook, or YouTube or anywhere else and only offers Amazon, they're wasting traffic and they're wasting money. And it costs what for buy now button from PayPal or a Stripe button? It costs nothing. Any of those sales, you make more because you don't have the Amazon fee.
That's right.
And some sellers just don't understand that. And it's extra sales. That's the whole thing. You can still fulfill from Amazon. I wouldn't, but you can. And I don't know. To me, it's not about turning away sales.
Let me ask you this. I mean, now we're like, I guess, 6 months into the pandemic. How has that changed the sort of the landscape, and especially for smaller and larger sellers, companies?
Well, Amazon FBA does not, there's no principle with Amazon FBA called safety stock. Where do you keep it? In the past, when FBA started, we all had FBA and FBM listings. And that's how I recommended to all my clients to do it, because you had a safety stock. And when you were out, you were filling items yourself. Running out is a cardinal sin. If in my opinion, it happens, but it should not happen more than once. You should, you really should learn your lesson, and find another way to do it. But it happens all the time. As a seller, I look for those people. Nowadays, you run out once, I know you're going to run out again. So if you're doing ranking better than me, or you have a position I want, I'm just sitting, waiting, watching your stock go down, waiting for you to run out to pounce.
Yeah.
My email list, everything comes out the minute you're out, and I pass you up while you're not looking.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
I'm just yesterday I did a search on Amazon for Gothic wall shelf to see how many guys were doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what? Terms like that, it's all about niching down. Amazon, the search engine that A9 is built around books. It's not built around products. It works really good for books.
Yeah.
How do people search for books? They don't search the keyword, working out. They click health and fitness. They click men's health. They click weightlifting. They go category wise. And if you look at books and you drill down like that, it's nails. It's nails on. And looking at that really changed my view of how products rank and how products categorize. You can get into 10 different categories with books, and the whole thing about books is getting in the top 10 list. You get in the top 10 list, Amazon takes over your marketing.
Wow.
And it's I've learned a lot about books this year, and it's something that I kind of wish I would have realized in the past years. All those PDF lead magnets and stuff that I've ever made should also be Kindle products.
Interesting. But then how would that work? Wouldn't that be a much bigger book? Or?
No, there are Kindle products that are 1 page long.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, there are. So when you get like software and you go to the Office store and you get that 1 page with all the commands on it, laminated, those are Kindle products. You can get those not laminated, but you can get those as Kindle products.
Wow.
So if I was getting what I know now, if I was getting into e-commerce, I was going to go into a different line. I would start with Kindle and finance my e-commerce with Kindle. I would drop a book, something along those lines, build authority, drive traffic to my website before my product even comes in.
Yeah.
So then when the product shows up, I've got, this waiting army of people that love my product and that trust me. You can take a small book or for example, your industry. You can take, excuse me, do you reveal your industry in this?
Yeah, I don't have a problem revealing yet that I sell bedding and.
Okay, I wanted to ask, how that is, but for example, your industry, you could create a 5, 7-page lead magnet about sleep. I mean, it's like eating. Everybody has to eat. You know, you've got a market. Everybody has to sleep. And when you can't sleep, it can be life threatening. You know, so you know there's a market. No matter what, there's always going to be a market for any kind of product that you create around that. So you have a 3 or 5-page thing written about sleeping better, whatever, you know, just something that has a lot of value packed into it. If you have to pay for somebody, a professional, to write it, you do, whatever. At the end of that, you pitch your store, or your product, or your paperback book, or your website. And it's a numbers game. It's an absolute numbers game. You're going to get traffic from it. The thing about Kindle is, what is Kindle? It's air. It's air. It's zero overhead. You know, that to me is the holy grail of e-commerce, zero inventory. So Amazon has all of these marketing programs for Kindle products that are free to low cost, that make PPC seem like it's ridiculous when you just kind of look at it. There's all these book groups out there, and people are in these book clubs, and they follow the categories and the topics that they want. Some of these groups have 100,000 people on the mailing list.
Wow.
So you sign up for all these different groups, you charge $1 for your Kindle product, or you give it away for free, and they mail their mailing lists. You line all that up for your first week, your launch week, and you get yourself into easy to rank categories at first, you know, ones where you need 10 sales a day to be in the top 20. You know, that's somewhat that's relevant, but not your chosen end category. And as soon as you start ranking, Amazon starts picking up the marketing for you. So when you walk into a bookstore, a brick and mortar bookstore, they have the marketing, the end caps, you know, and all this stuff. That's all bought and paid for by publishers. When you open up Amazon Bookstore or Kindle Books, Amazon rebuilds the store from the ground up based on your purchasing history and people who have purchasing history like yours that read after what you're reading right now. And it makes suggestions, and those suggestions come from top 10 lists.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you know, if you get into a category that to get in the top 10 list, you only need 8 books a day. Amazon immediately starts marketing that, you know, and suggesting the book to people that like that. So you start selling more books. Well, you can rank in 10 categories in the books. So you take, you know, hard categories and easy categories as you progress up the easy ones. Well, now you're ranking number 10 in a harder category, and Amazon now showing your book to those people. It's a great way to market. All those lead magnets that we've created over the years or whatever could have a second, have a dual purpose. You know, when I think about all the extra traffic that could have generated.
Could you possibly use even like blog posts as content for some?
Yeah, you can create a book out of, you know, a blog post or multiple blog posts. There's all kinds of things you can do with it. It's nuts.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. But
Yeah,
I wanted to ask you about something else that you've talked about previously. It was really caught my attention. I think it's more important than ever considering the environment, is how can we source locally and help local businesses? And I really want to get that out there because I'm in the process of launching a lot more new products with local suppliers based in North America, which is great because there's so many more advantages with dealing with local companies where we live and build communities.
So I stopped sourcing in China in 2008.
Wow.
And it was because Amazon went to my manufacturer and sourced my product and had their name put on it and kicked me off my listing right after I got 4,000 units delivered to FBA. Just a typical Amazon move. They still do that crap. It's ridiculous. But you know, I realized then, and I knew a Chinese American manufacturer really well, and he just told me the whole, you know, the whole system, how it works over there. And I just said, no way, never again. You know, we already share our data with Amazon.
Yeah.
Do I want them to share my manufacturer? You know, I mean, it's their end game is to eliminate the middleman. And they've been saying that in their SEC filings and their shareholder filings since 1999. So knowing that, makes you deal with Amazon a little differently. So when I had my business in 1999, it was it was Native American art. It started because my ex-wife painted cow skulls. We live in Arizona. We got cow skulls. She put beads on them. I had these cow skulls hanging all over my house. And she just didn't have that sales thing to go to the gift shops to sell them. So I said, okay, I'm going to put them online. I put them online, and it was like, okay, well, cow skulls, I'm only going to get this many people for cow skulls. So I'm going to add products. We decided to add artists, furniture, custom Southwest furniture, Native American art, pottery, all kinds of stuff. So within 3 weeks, we had 32 different artists, and everything was drop ship or consigned. I didn't pay for any of it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it worked really well. Well, then one time we were going to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we were on the Indian reservation. We drove by a closed gas station, and they were selling Navajo fry bread, on the side of the road, and some jewelry. So we pulled over and we started talking to these Indians, and the jewelry was gorgeous. It was just, handmade Native American jewelry. And these old timers were on the side of the road in the heat selling their jewelry. And I looked at it and I thought, okay, I can sell this for more than twice what you're selling it for here. I made a deal with them right then and there. And we started selling Native American jewelry, and it went through the freaking roof. Yeah, they did really well. I did insanely well. It improved their quality of life. And I owned Kachina doll, Hopi Kachina doll, all the Kachina doll words for 4 to 10 cents a piece when PPC first started.
Wow.
And I mean, we sold a ton of it, and it was good money. I mean, I had this guy, he still does it to this day. He's blind and he has one hand, and he's a Kachina doll carver. And he carves incredible stuff. I got another one in a museum with his stuff. I still have some stuff hanging on the wall here. And I sold that business in 2003. But I learned then all about sourcing locally. And I don't know why, but I just developed an eye for it. If I were to, somebody put up a post, we're given $10,000 to open up an FBA business tomorrow, what would you do? My response was, I'd take a $9,000 vacation. Then I'd come back, I'd hop in my car, I'd go downtown Scottsdale to the art stores that are not selling anything right now because nobody's going out. And within 2 hours, I'd have a store worth of products that I could drop ship. And I mean, my cut, because the stuff's so expensive, my cut would be $200 to $300 per sale. I probably wouldn't sell it on Amazon. I would go to higher market, better marketplaces, different marketplaces.
Yeah.
But I still have my list from 1999, and I still have those people on my list. I know that I could get sales today, with some of that stuff down there. And that's how I would start. There's products everywhere. I mean, we were in lockdown. All these businesses were closed.
Yeah.
There's so many businesses that have a terrible, terrible representation on the internet. All you need to do is pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm an internet marketer. I can get your product on the internet. Are you interested? Then let's say it's a local mom and pa's coffee shop, something like that.
Yeah.
I can get your coffee selling for you and get you some revenue within a week, hopefully, coming into your business. There's a catch. You need to drop ship it for me. But if you give me a wholesale price, I'll split 25% of the profits with you. Now they're bought in. Now they have a reason to make that extra effort with the drop ship and make it right. I'd be all over that in a heartbeat. I mean, I go to the corner and right now there's opportunity everywhere. This is a new normal moving forward. Any business, any one of us right now have the opportunity to rewrite our future, and remake ourselves. If
Yeah.
you're not happy where your business is, now's the time to be thinking about it. So many sellers screwed up bad with this whole COVID thing because they had no backup. They gave away their margins with rebates and stuff, so they really had no money to be able to go source elsewhere.
Yeah.
They're stuck. And as crappy as it is, and as bad as I feel for them, and there's nothing you can do. There's a certain amount of education that people have to take on for themselves.
Hmm.
You can tell somebody till you're blue in the face that what they're doing is black hat, but if they don't care, or they'll do, it's just unfortunately how it is. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I know we have similar backgrounds and you have a history. You were saying a little bit about it earlier about selling furniture. Can furniture still be sold on Amazon? Because I've encountered many difficulties. I mean, it's strange where during the pandemic where I've got items which are 3 stars and I can't keep it in stock, because there's like a lack of RTA kind of furniture. But I decided to get out of it because it's going to go down to a 2 star because it's so hard to maintain that kind of quality when sometimes a screw is missing or they don't assemble it correctly. But I think there's a huge opportunity as well.
There is a huge opportunity. Uh, I think there's a market for that on Amazon.
Yeah.
The coaster and the whatever that other company is. I can't think of the name of it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That style furniture. That stuff sells like there's no tomorrow. I did not. I would buy accessories when I had my furniture store. I'd buy accessories through like Coaster and Ashley. That's what it is. Ashley
Yeah.
Furniture.
Ashley's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had a rocker recliner glider. Coaster did, that I could buy for $125, and I could sell all day long for between $249 and $299.
Wow.
And I could ship anywhere in the United States for $30. The box was 1 inch oversized, so I'd get a truckload of these things delivered to my shop, and my kids would stand on the box, or I'd sit on the box, and they would retape it to make it fit, so that it was shippable. We
Yeah.
donated some to the maternity wards. I sold those things all day long, all the time, and it was an easy sell. Stuff like that, some of those. That one made a lot of money, but sometimes you have a loss leader, that you might sell part of the 3-piece unit at a loss because the other two, when they buy them, are going to be positive. So everything furniture wise, what we did was all custom. So it was heavy.
Yeah.
The drawers were on rollers. We used old growth ponderosa pine from the Grand Canyon. So this stuff was really heavy. We shipped a dresser to Canada to HSN.
Really?
And yeah, we were supposed to do a run on HSN. And we had so many orders after the second episode that we stopped. They almost put me out of business. We sold 600 of them, I think.
Wow.
We sold a ton of them. It was nuts. And all I had to do to get involved was ship a dresser to them. And it was nice. It was really nice stuff. That's what, helped. But you never know, I don't understand sellers when they say, oh, there's nothing outside of Amazon. I don't get that. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
When I had my store, there was a Spanish channel that came in. They wanted to interview me. Well, the 90% of the Spanish people in Arizona and around here couldn't afford the products that I carried. But I figured, hey, what do I have to lose, So I did this interview, and I know kitchen Spanish and hotel Spanish really well, but I did not really understand most of the words this woman said, but I trusted her, Well, there was a girl in town visiting her parents, and she just happened to be the head interior designer for Marriott Corporate.
Wow.
Throughout the episode. And 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from Marriott Corporate in Washington, D.C., and orders to furnish 2 hotels. And it was nuts. I mean, you never know. That's the whole thing. You never know. It only takes one person or one little thing. So, in my opinion, uh, you want to be everywhere. It's all about getting your name out there, and the more people know who you are, like I mentioned the other day, with your post, there's certain things that you have that Amazon cannot do. They can't do exactly what you're doing right now, having a face to your business. They don't, refunding a seller's money is not customer service.
Yeah.
You know?
What interests me the most in terms of what I posted about Amazon was having a knockoff of one of my best-selling products was the fact that their their optimization has improved. You know what I mean? It's not like the days of Amazon Basics was really bare bones, But I mean, the fact that I think what we're struggling left is we have to really build that community and all that, because then otherwise it's all about a price comparison. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
and that's what Amazon wants, And
Exactly.
that's why we really need, I keep telling everybody to build that audience off of Amazon where you control the customer, you can remarket to them and retarget them and really build that relationship.
Mhm. Yeah. So for me, any business that I help,
Yeah.
if so, for a long time, I wouldn't work with anybody that only sold on Amazon because they just did not understand how it really all worked. Amazon is a sales channel. Your marketing should incorporate Amazon as part of it, but really the end goal is that you sell on Amazon as a courtesy to your buyers that purchase on Amazon. So my opinion is, people are very platform loyal. So I'm going to make sure that they can buy my product where they're very comfortable. Amazon happens to have a huge nut in the market, so of course I'm going to be on Amazon. But any marketing that I do off of Amazon is not just going to direct people to Amazon. It's not just going to have it'll never have a coupon, but it's not going to have anything that's Amazon specific. At the bottom where everybody would have their button just to go to Amazon, I'm going to say now available on these fine sites: Amazon, Shopify. If I'm selling on eBay, it would be on eBay, Facebook. If I'm doing Facebook Marketplace, I'm going to have up to 4 different purchase locations. So they can pay how they're most comfortable. I'll make it more if they don't go to Amazon. Why wouldn't I? And that works. I mean, I work with a lot of national brands that are older than Amazon, that Amazon is not their biggest channel, although Amazon's huge, and they don't like Jeff Bezos. They don't. They're only on Amazon because it's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
Um, Amazon works against them. I have one client. Amazon poured out the product as a vendor. Amazon was giving it away at 25% of their cost, while we were selling it at full price for 25 years with no issues. And they did that to divert off Amazon traffic to Amazon. And they lost $1 million a year reseller account with a national clearance house off of Amazon because they did not believe that Amazon would sell at 25% of their cost.
Wow.
And it was nuts. I mean, that's price fixing. That's all there is to it. That's price fixing. That's totally illegal. It was crazy. So what we realized was, after fighting with Amazon and cutting them off and everything, they were selling it cheaper than we could make it. So I wrote a bot that the minute they dropped the price, we bought it.
Okay.
So we bought it, and sometimes we were shipping it from our back door to our front door. And then we'd ship it to Amazon on their next FBA order. It was nuts, but that was what we did to fight against them, because there was nothing we could do. We tried Amazon, tried Jeff Bezos. The response I got from the executive office was, Joe, we decide when there's something wrong here at Amazon, and right now the only thing wrong that we have is you. And yeah, it was nuts. We tried the FTC, and
What I find really the biggest problem with Amazon is they've tried to automate too much. You know what I mean? You're losing that personal connection, and everything's trying to be automated to save money, and it's actually costing them more money in the long run.
It is because they don't maintain it. That's a big part of the problem. The algorithm runs the business. Everybody there that works there, they're just maintenance employees. They all carry around a little can of oil and they squirt it into the little, the little gears and stuff. Because when you're negotiating with Vendor Central and you're negotiating with the vendor manager for 8 years now, I swear they're reading from a piece of paper when they're talking to you on the phone. They say the most absurd stuff that you have to say to yourself, are you joking? I mean, it seriously, it really seems to me like they're just doing what the algorithm decided to do. I mean, I've had them try to increase fees that would have cost a client another $150,000 in fees per year, and they quoted numbers, metrics that their own reports did not represent.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I'm on the phone. We're in speakerphone, and I'm like, well, wait a second. You're saying one thing, and your own reports say something else, and that caused a problem, and they gave in and changed the reports to remove that.
I once read that Jeff Bezos eats octopus for breakfast. Related to that, but that's,
he's a Star Trek fan.
Yeah, that's right. Listen, this is a podcast about sleep, so I need to ask you before we end this: how are you sleeping? What are you sleeping on right now? Like, sleeping well?
I have narcolepsy, so I can count backwards from 10 and not make it to 3. Yeah, so I sleep really well at the movies. But I have a motionless waterbed.
Waterbed, that's what we call real old school. We don't hear waterbed anymore.
I have a motionless waterbed. In fact, I had it for 20 years, and when my kids were little, my younger son decided to go all psycho on it one day. Okay. So I didn't have one for a few years, but I recently bought a new one, and it's the most comfortable bed I've ever slept in.
So did you go in stores to try out the waterbed?
I wish I could have. The waterbed store here in Arizona that I bought my original one at had just closed. Okay. After like 30 years. And it's funny because I'm not an Amazon buyer, but I bought a mattress on Amazon.
It was a waterbed. Interesting.
One of the 4 things I've ever bought on Amazon. And I bought a California King motionless waterbed mattress, and I actually had to extend the bed 6 inches because the mattress was it was bigger than California King.
Wow.
Weird. Yeah. I mean, it took me, I was going to build the bed myself, but one of my clients actually had an employee who was getting rid of a waterbed, a California King waterbed frame. So I bought it from her, and I bought this mattress, but it is so comfortable. Yeah. It's my kids, when my kids were little, they used to fight me over it. Now it's just my dog.
I hear you. So listen,
and all that.
I want to really personally thank you for coming on here. What's the best way that people can reach out if they,
smoke signals normally get my attention these days.
Leave you a nice comment on YouTube or something.
Yeah. My website is ecommerce-optimizer.com. Yeah. I'm Ecom Optimizer on Facebook, on YouTube, on Pinterest, on Instagram. Ecom Optimizer, e-commerce optimizer. You can pretty much find me anywhere. I'm in the Facebook groups. Kind of not as much lately because the election and politics stuff. Just no thanks.
Perfect.
Too much